Chris, our last meeting, did you do the pledge?
Yes, I did.
I thought you did. Okay, I'll call this meeting to order, 6:01. Rise for a moment of silence, and then we'll do the pledge. Ron, would you lead us in the pledge, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is roll call.
Ron Bacon.
Here.
David Hockmeister.
Here.
Ted Metzger.
Present.
Brad Overton.
Here.
Richard Reed.
Present.
Greg Richmond.
Here.
Chris Wetstein.
Here.
Okay, on the agenda, the item number 3 will be removed from this agenda and placed on the December agenda, pending some things. So you can make a note of that. The approval of minutes, regular meeting October 6, July 13, department hearings, October 6, budget public hearing, and October 20, budget adoption. Anybody have any comments? I spent 4 hours today reading the 76 pages of the department hearings.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Ron. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Chris. In discussion, all those in favor? 7-0. Highway business, liability insurance, $26,526. That's an additional appropriation in highway. You have to have liability insurance, and it's been going up.
Yeah. They were short in their budget for the bill that they received.
Motion to approve.
Motion by David. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Ron. Any discussion, questions? All those in favor? 7-0. Now, item number 4, all those items are handbook policy reimbursements, transfers, or corrections.
I didn't take it. You removed it from the agenda.
I'll read them, and we can do these all in all of number 4. Is that correct? Or do I need-
That is correct.
Okay. First up is salary ordinance handbook, 2-week vacation payout for council administrator, $2,383.11. In 4B, transfer handbook, transfer from other services, $2,384. Transfer to council administrator, $2,384. In the health department, 4C, 2-week vacation payout administrator, $2,160.69. 1 week vacation payout manager, $841.88. 2 weeks vacation payout administrative assistant, $1,598.77. 4D, additional appropriation according to the handbook. That's again in the health department. Manager, $842. Administrator, $2,161. Administrative assistant, $1,599. In the commissioners, E911 additional appropriation reimbursement in contractual services, $10,000. And 4F in the commissioners is handbook 2-week vacation payout administrative assistant, $1,548.04. In the sheriff's budget, salary ordinance handbook, 4 days vacation payout for lieutenant, $1,142.58. 5 days vacation payout for sergeant, $1,316.35. 2 days vacation payout for sergeant, $484.81. 4H, Superior Court 2, salary ordinance according to handbook, 1 week vacation payout, court reporter, $902.80. Do we do the inline transfer here?
No, they
Okay.
didn't need it.
They made it already, okay.
Mhm.
And then for I, Superior Court, Salary Ordinance Handbook, 2 week vacation payout, probation officer, $2,931.79. And just to explain this to anybody who doesn't understand, this is according to our handbook, you get vacation days, and then if they don't take them,
They can get paid out.
They can
You
get it
have to
paid
have
out.
worked for the county for 20 years in order to qualify,
okay.
right? 20?
So Rob, that's something new to you that you'll be seeing. Is there any discussion on this? Questions?
I've got a question, just to reiterate what, on 4E, it says reimbursement.
Yes, it was a reimbursement to E911 from the city of Boonville. I'm not sure what they were reimbursing them for, but instead of, so for them, okay, so they paid it out of the line item, and then the city of Boonville reimbursed them, and they want to put it back into the line
And we're
item.
putting it back in.
Yes.
All right.
I'll take a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Ron. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Brad. Any further discussion, questions? All those in favor? 7-0. Thank you. Okay. Number 5, election business. Oh, yeah, there he is. Andrew Skinner.
Already?
Yeah, I think this is just to explain it. Yeah, we're moving. And then we have a resolution to transfer from the rainy day fund after that.
Okay. I believe all the documents requests were submitted, and hopefully you have those in front of you. A few line items, a lot of money's been moved around this year to cover various line items that needed paid out. And so these requests are what is needed to fund those certain line items that money was already moved out of to pay for something else. So this would be what would be needed in order to fund the rest of this election, which, as you can look through those requests, but
Okay, that's actually not coming till December.
these are just movements
Yeah,
of line
she
items,
just,
right?
yes, but she just gave me those, and those are on the December
Those are
agenda.
December. So this is just enter transfers.
This one, there's one that I had told her we would try to get on tonight, and that's from election support to absentee voter boards for $2,450.
Okay.
The rest of all those and all of her additionals and everything she sent me yesterday, that's coming on the December agenda.
December.
Okay, so, she did, just so you all are aware, she did send me appropriations yesterday for next meeting. I did some calculating, and it looks like we'll be somewhere around 70,000 or so short. I know that Andrew was gonna speak to the ways that they possibly did save some money from the spring election to the fall election.
We did a lot of changes, what we could do. We reduced the number of machines at the locations where we could, which saved on programming costs for machines. We reduced the number of workers at locations where we could reduce the number of workers. We reduced the number of workers for early voting, the number of machines that are early voting. What we could not reduce was the number of days and hours for early voting. So the most we could do was just limit the number of people that we had there in order to save costs, and did save quite a bit by doing that. The other savings we were able to do is we requested Microvote keep some of the printers that they hadn't, the new high-speed printers we had ordered. We ordered, I forget how many we ordered initially, but we, through cuts and different things we've done, we've decided we could get by without that many. So we returned, asked that they keep a certain portion of them, which they agreed to, and that then balance was put as an offset for this election coming up, their contract fee. And that was five thousand something.
$5,240.
So we were able to do some work there. So we've done all the cutting we can do under that the law allows for this election. And I think we've tried to reduce where we can and go minimum as much as we can in order to try and reduce the amount of overage that occurred from the May election. And I think that was done pretty well. There was a unexpected increase in the number of mailed-in ballots. As you can see, has eat up a lot more postage than what was expected for this fall. But aside from that, everything we've done, I think we've done a pretty good job of reducing costs as much as we could from this for this November election compared to the May election. I would like to see, and I know Patty does as well, see some further reductions made in terms of locations and for 2024. But as all of you are aware, that there has to be a unanimous decision of all three members of the election board. And so far, we've not been able to achieve that. So that's where we currently stand.
We do have a new election board member as well.
We do.
Is that Gary?
Grant Gerling was the member this year. He resigned a month ago, and Tanya Higgs has been
That's right,
put in
Tanya.
in his place. Yeah.
So just so you all know, she submitted several transfers and they ended up being inline transfers. And they were sent to the auditor's office to go ahead and transfer. But there was one transfer that I told her I would bring up under other business. And that was transferring $2,450 from election support to absent voter boards. And that would get them through. And then in December, they're going to request for additional appropriations, but there really isn't enough cash unless you approve something from this rainy day transfer tonight. So those are the two things on for vote tonight.
So this page here, saved to December?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Okay, so I guess that's all we need from you right now, and we'll go to 5B, the rainy day transfer.
Well, before we move on, can we ask a question?
Yes.
We obviously can't go through next year like this.
No.
And we got a new board member that's new, fresh in negotiations, so is there any plans to go back to polling positions for the next year? Can we go back, or what's the deal? We can't keep going on year to year
So-
like this. There has to be a plan B at this point, right?
So any change to the vote center plan that currently exists requires unanimous vote. Whether that is to abandon vote centers and go back to precinct-based voting like you suggested, that would require unanimous consent. Certainly wouldn't be something I would vote for. But to reduce the number of locations requires unanimous consent. To amend that plan would require unanimous consent. And so that's where the things we can do that don't require the unanimous consent, such as reducing number of workers, reducing number of machines on election day, that we can do, and we have done, but the reducing number of locations is just not something we can do without all three votes.
I understand that, and that's the elephant in the room. We just can't keep going on with this many folks centers next year. I hate to go into next year thinking we're gonna have to do this again, go from rainy day to support the election.
Well, hopefully, 2024 is our next election, so hopefully what we can do is save enough money in 2023 to cover 2024. What we also can do in 2024 is change the length of early voting which we couldn't change from May to November this year, but we can change in 2024. Instead of doing 4 weeks, you could do 2 weeks, or something different. You could change that in 2024. We just couldn't get it changed for this year because what we did in May, we had to do in November.
But we could also, sorry to interrupt, we could also reduce the number of locations,
Right.
which we could not get them to agree with.
I remember. All right, that's the problem, the number of locations.
Exactly.
So plan B is just continue to negotiate and hope the other side sees the light, reduces the number of phone centers.
Yes, and I will mention that the school corporation is also putting pressure to make some changes that we weren't able to get accomplished for November. They've got Sharon Elementary is a location they'd like to not see used because of some problems of where to put kids. They just don't have another place to put the kids for lunch, for recess, for dismissal. It's hard to keep them separated from the voting area at Sharon, and they'd like to see us move. We talked with the superintendent and the principal at Boonville High School. We'd like to see going to Boonville High School, but again, those are changes we couldn't do unless we had the unanimous consent, and the school corporation is reaching out to the Democrat Party to discuss those issues as well.
That sounds hopeful.
There's a big church right across the street from Sharon School.
There sure is. Yeah.
So and I guess I'm still trying to get a handle on this, but did the increased cost just come from the additional voting weeks that we went, or from 2020 to 2022?
And the number of places that they were voting, because you had to staff those places.
Right, but I mean, I guess because, before we had all the precincts, we had more precinct voting than we did.
Yeah, but it was only on that
vote
one
centers.
day.
Yeah. So
Right,
your
we had early voting on those days too. I mean, we had
I went
some
to the
early.
clerk's office.
Only
Was it only at the clerk's office?
in 2020 general election was the first year. Well, there was back earlier, but it was the first time here recently we had done early voting at places other than the clerk's office. We added First Christian Church in Linville Community Center 2020 general election. That then was continued this year, and that is the additional expense that was added this year that wasn't really calculated, I think, in the overall cost of the budget for this year. The actual election day expenses, if you look, are down from previous years. We've saved quite a bit of money on election day because we now only have 18 places to staff, right? So we don't have the 20, 30, 40, 50 that we used to have. So the election day cost we're reducing. It's that early voting that's we've added, which is a good thing, right? We all wanted early voting, but it is an expense that we didn't used to have.
Well, the disturbing part is spend a bunch more dollars and less people vote. That's the disturbing part to me.
Of course, primary years like off presidential election years are always down. This is pretty consistent with non-presidential years in the past, but certainly when we compare 2020 primary or 2020 general election, which has had early voting, right? And we compare that to the 2024 general election coming up, we'll have a real good comparison to see how did that influence voter turnout.
Given the times, I think we're going to have a pretty good turnout for an off-presidential year this year.
Yes.
We're already seeing quite an increase in people voting this week and last week. And then, of course, I already mentioned the mail-in ballots is doubled what it was in the primary. Seeing about, 200 something people a day come
Right.
vote for just at First Christian Church.
Right.
When you say mail-in, you mean absentee, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
We don't have mail-in.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
Just clear it up.
Absentee confuses a lot of people, but when you hear mail, the ones on the mail. So yes, but yeah, it's not the mail-in ballot you hear about, Utah and places like that. It's an absentee by mail. Yeah.
People watching the meeting, hear you say
Yes.
mail-in, they think,
Yes.
red flag.
Yep.
Okay.
And I've not had anybody complain to me about vote centers yet. Have any of you heard anything different? They like being able to go, it's convenient where it's convenient.
I've only heard good things. Exception one.
I don't think they're gonna budge, but they might.
Hope so.
We need to vote on this transfer
Okay.
from contract election support to absentee voters board, $2,450.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Brad, is there a second?
Yes.
Second by David. Any discussion or questions? All those in favor? All 7 of us? Thank you. Now, this Warrick County resolution number, I've lost count.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
This will be resolution 2022-13.
13, thank you. Warrick County Council Resolution 2022-13, a resolution of the County Council of Warrick County, Indiana, authorizing a transfer of funds from the rainy day fund to the election fund for the 2022 election expenses. Do I need to read section 1 with the amount?
No.
Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Brad to approve. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Chris. Any discussions or questions, additions? All those in favor? It's 7-0. Okay. I think that's all of yours.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next up is 5C, the review of council meeting dates, and then the appointment list. Let's do the council meeting dates first. First of all, on Thursday, May the 4th, it says 6 p.m., but always that is the Thursday that they have the National Day of Prayer. And so we should move that time to 7 p.m. if we keep
I'm
this
gonna make a
calendar.
note, but yeah.
Any discussion or motions?
So you need a motion to change or accept the dates except May 4th from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. on the future dates.
I
Doesn't
thought,
need a motion to accept these dates.
I-
That's what's doing.
first of all, we don't have to make a motion tonight. It's gonna be on the December agenda. This was to discuss any changes so that I can draft it properly and you guys can motion it at the next meeting. But there was some discussion from a council member to move the meetings to Tuesdays, not change the time, but move the meeting to Tuesdays.
And we had that discussion earlier in the year, and one of the reasons that most of you didn't want to do it was because we had already set the dates for the year, which I understand. But I'm still would like to move it to Tuesdays rather than Thursdays. Because I still think that's a better day of the week for all involved. So, and I said I held it, and we would bring it back up for the first of the year. So that was the discussion then, and that's what I'm doing now.
And everything I've heard from the public, they like the 6 o'clock time because most
Yeah.
people work during
Yeah.
the day.
We're not discussing
Yeah, it
changing the
wasn't the
time.
time,
Okay.
it was the date,
Yeah.
Except for May the 4th.
Yeah.
except for May the 4th.
It would-
And then as we look at the appointment list, what would be helpful if you would express to Crystal or myself where you'd like to serve. And then also any other outside nominees, laypersons that are not a part of the council for some of these positions that we have appointed. Some of them require a council member. The Personnel Committee, of course, all 3 of them is council. David won't be with us. as we start the new year. And that meeting's always, around the 1st of August. And we get everybody who wants to make changes in their job descriptions and their plea for bumped up a notch.
It's not fun. I'm just saying. It's not.
We do have a job study that we usually refer these to help us. And with a start out 9.1% inflation rate, it's still running almost, I think, 6.1 or something like that. I was glad we were able to grant 5% increase in salaries. That seems to be the going rate pretty much everywhere now. Wish we could grant more, but we are dealing with a budget and we have to hang to it. So like, you can read this list. I don't want to read this list over, but you can see all the appointments that are highlighted that are up for this year. If it's a council member, it usually states council member or county president or council appointee. So this is just for you to review. And again, whatever you're interested in, email myself or Crystal or both of us. And that would be helpful. Then we kind of know where we're going with this. We can talk about it again in December, but really legally, I don't think we make our appointments until
Oh, yeah,
January 5.
It will be on the January agenda. I'm just trying to give you a heads up if you want to communicate with people.
Yeah.
But can I go back to the meeting dates? So just to clarify, so we're just keeping them on Thursdays and I'm supposed to change May 4th to 7 PM? Is that? since
If we keep
just-
them on Thursday, it'll be
Mm.
7 PM, that May the 5th,
So we always have, just go to the fair.
May the
or
4th.
fair day.
I know, I didn't know, you kind of skipped over it. Are you planning to move them to Tuesdays or are you keeping them on Thursdays?
Well, we're just discussing them. I don't know.
Yes, do two resolutions.
Do 2 resolutions. Thank you, Cliff. That was what I was getting at, like what,
Oh,
I didn't know what I was supposed to do, so.
So we'll take a resolution to move it to Tuesdays.
Either way, it takes a resolution to set your dates. So I just want to know what to put on the resolution. So
Okay.
I'll just do 2 and then you can
Yeah.
vote on it. Okay.
And if it moves to Tuesday, the May 4th would not have to move.
Right.
It'll be May the 2nd. Okay. I did not have any conflicts with any of these dates. What else is on here? EMS information.
Yes, I believe Terry wanted to discuss. Yes.
I want to introduce a little bit of information here to you guys this evening. We talk about the EMS service in Warrick County. Are all of you aware that there's a nationwide EMS crisis and what EMS services are facing right now? Anybody? So with regard to that situation, we've been discussing EMS services in Warrick County, we the commissioners across the board. So I asked to be on the agenda tonight to bring the council up to date on the contract with EMS. The commissioners have decided to stay with St. Vincent as our provider. We have some minor details to work out, but we voted to accept the proposal by St. Vincent in principle at our last meeting. I want you guys to know that this is a very well thought out decision. For over 2 years, we've been shopping the EMS service in Warrick County. Much like a person might shop for a contractor or a home builder, we didn't only talk to providers, we talked to customers of providers. I personally have talked to Posey County, Vanderburgh County, Spencer County, Perry County, Knox County, Henderson County, Kentucky, Martin County, and Davies County. And I can't speak to who else the other commissioners have talked to, but that's the diligence that I've done. So after investigating all the options, we've decided that St. Vincent's is going to remain our provider. So what I want to do here this evening is get in front of you and anticipate, hopefully, some of the questions that you might ask. So one of those questions might be, why now? We have 2 years left on our current contract, and sometimes it's good to get out of a contract early. We see this as an opportunity to lock in at today's pricing. I think that you guys on the council might see that as wise when you have the sheriff come to you and ask for cars. You might like for him to lock in for the next 10 years on the price of cars. If we wait until the current contract expires, I think we jeopardize losing the service completely. If we were to lose the service completely, we know that it is probably a $3 to $5 million a year proposition just to run the service, not including the capital expenditures that go along with the service. Another question we might anticipate is, should we have got more bids? Well, we did get more bids in a way through doing our diligence. We've scrutinized all the EMS providers. We've explored starting our own service, what that may cost and what that would take. And so, in a very real sort of way, we have scrutinized more bids. We believe this contract is good for Warrick County. It's hard fought. The amount that we'll end up negotiating is going to be basically for just operational expenses alone. St. Vincent's is going to end up paying, I don't know exactly what the numbers are, but probably 2/3 of the cost of running the ambulance service. So I'll stop short of calling this a gift from St. Vincent. It definitely favors Warrick County heavily. The one thing I'm 1,000% confident is they are the right provider for us. So I don't need anything from you guys this evening. Just came to introduce the conversation to you and let you know what's going on in an effort to communicate. Happy to answer any questions.
I think several of us met with the EMS director and got the picture of what they're facing.
Yes, and we appreciate that. You guys put an effort into doing some diligence of your own. One of the things that you may have heard in that presentation from Tony and Isha was that, because a lot of the patients are Medicaid billable, that drives the collection rate down very low. And we have put a clause in the contract that basically says if they were to improve that collection rate to a certain percentage, we would renegotiate it automatically. That would be a trigger. Because if they're going to bring in more revenue, we're going to talk again. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Thank you. There's a transfer that was laying on your desk. I got it today, I guess, from its area plan. And that transfer is from equipment maintenance to furniture, $1,800 that we need to do.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by David, second by Brad. Any questions or discussion? All those in favor? 7-0. And the last thing I wanted to mention is the jail study committee, which I'm a part of, is going to have an information gathering session and a presentation on where we stand and kind of give us a little picture about where we need to go on cost, a time, calendar of events that need to happen. Just kind of get some kind of plan going here so we know what we're looking at and what to plan for with the PSLIT money. And that is going to be on November the 16th at 9 a.m. right here in this room. November 16 at 9 a.m. And all of you are invited to come along and listen from what I heard. And I've asked Crystal to come along too because she has insight into the budgets. So she's got that on her calendar. So I don't have anything else. Anybody else have anything else come before the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion adjourned.
Motion by Rick. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second by Chris. All those in favor? 7-0. Thank you. Won't make that meeting.